Welcome to Israeli Adventures, the podcast that unveils the opulence and charm of the Holy Land. This is Beni Levin's podcast, your host and the proud owner of Luxury Experiential Travel. Join me as we explore the finest destinations and experiences that Israel has to offer. Get ready to indulge in the ultimate luxury escape.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Israeli Adventures. And today we're actually going to talk about a very interesting topic, or tourism, traveling to Israel post-October 7. I think a lot of people asking themselves this question, can you come to travel to Israel? Is it safe? What do you need to plan? Is that going to leave any trauma behind by visiting this area? Or what are the different options? Is that a good time to come? We are looking for a way to support. So generally, if I need to summarize it in one sentence, today we're going to talk about traveling to Israel post-October 7 with its educational and different dilemmas. And for that, I invited a very special guest. This special guest, I want to give you a little bit of background about him. So first of all, Yuval, you are the most handsome guy that I know. Of course, this is very, very important. But you're also a colleague. You are in the travel business, guiding, owning your own brand in the last 25 years. More than that, you're probably the guru, the teacher, the inspiration for many tour guides, as somebody that were leading young tour guides through their tour guide school. Lately, you also, with your brand, you joined the Let umbrella. You joined as a partner, the newest partner in Let Travel. And I'm excited that you brought your own brand that you built with over those years and joined us. And I think we had so many conversations about what's happening here, how to create the right experience. So maybe 2 or 3, 4 words that I forgot to tell about you. And of course, you have more hair than me.
Obviously. Thank you so much. And I'm very excited to be here and to join you on this venture and the podcast and on the rest of the adventures that we're going to share. So I'm very excited about this opportunity. A few words about myself. I'm 51, live in a moshav that was established by my grandparents in the 1930s in the swampland, which today is a nice gated community. I do yoga, meditation since I'm a kid. Daily, I paint, I run, I scuba dive, I ski. I'm a tour guide for over 25 years. I was the head of a tour guiding training seminar courses for 14 years. And I do private tours. That's my passion. That's what I love to do. Meeting people from around the world, share ideas, grow together as people. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this as well.
Okay, so listen, I'm happy you're here. And let's jump straight in. What do you feel is the biggest fears of people when you talk to people on the other side of the ocean regarding visits to Israel? So what is their biggest fear when they're thinking about Israel right now?
Okay, so since our main education is coming from the media, and obviously anyone who watches the media thinks that this place is much more dangerous than it is. And that's on a regular basis. Regardless of this war now, people are always afraid to come to Israel. I think most American Jews actually never come to Israel in their life because there's never a good time. I actually thought about making a t-shirt saying, Israel, there's never a good time. So it's always dangerous. So that's the first thing that you think. You're going to a war zone and it's dangerous. And that's the image, especially people who've never been. Those who've been know that on the ground things look different. So that's the main issue, and that's a general comment. The other thing is we're in a war right now. So there's a lot of implications from that. Is it safe to come and travel and see the places that they want to see? Is it reasonable? People who want to come and feel that it's okay for them and are passionate about it and feel that it's safe enough for them. And again, it's a very subjective, we can talk about statistics, but it's a subjective feeling. They have a lot of people around them that are very concerned. So they have to face the mother, the wife, the kids, the friends at work that thinks that it's a crazy thing to do, to come to Israel. And that's a barrier. Other things that are barriers is that they're afraid to see what there is to see, because we went through some major atrocities here. And if you come here at that time, especially at the time, for a lot of reasons that we'll talk about, one of the things is you want to witness. You want to be a witness to what has happened. And people are afraid that it would affect them emotionally if they're concerned about taking themselves through that experience. In a way, it took me many, many years, jumping into Holocaust right now in the first 5 minutes of this, to go to Poland to look for my ancestors' history. One of my grandmothers is a Holocaust survivor, and I was afraid to go there to see the places.
It's very interesting because so far I never been to Poland. Like I really felt, that I cannot do it. And now we're together around this table. We're probably holding the biggest amount of trips that we can call them today. Solidarity tours, volunteering tours. We did together in this table over 30 of them in the last few months. We actually running a weekly trip that is people can join for a small group, 4 or 6 people to come and see, and we always have that conversation about those challenges. And one of the things that are jumping a lot, not from the people that come and visit, because there is a worry of a physical being, right? Like this physical safety. You're going to a war zone, you said. And the other one is, how does it going to affect me? And today, the interesting thing is that my feeling is that I lived my life as a liberal, I can say liberal Jew, that liberal Israeli Jew, wanted to be international, traveling the world, spending 4.5 months every single year with my family somewhere exploring the world. I wanted to feel part of the international community. We work with the states. We have a lot of feelings and people that thinking different from us, growing up in a different environment. And now we have a conversation here in Israel, even if it's appropriate. Like, we're in the middle of an event, of a war. We have danger that is coming from the north, that this area is completely closed. Israelis are not going up there to the upper Galilee and the area of Kiryat Shmona. And we have the south, where everything surrounding Gaza, even in the last, I would say, 2-3 months, is pretty quiet, and there is not many rockets. You can hear the war, but you can be around this area. But my first question to you, do you feel that it's appropriate to have, we basically doing a war tourism? It's crazy. Like, what do you feel about it?
Yeah. So generally, as a life philosophy, I try to, I have less answers than I have questions. And I feel that my answering is the most Jewish way, is through questioning and asking questions. And do I know the answer? I do not, but I can provide some insight and we can talk about it. I know that life continues and things are happening. And we are now in an event that is changing our life and the generations to come forever. We are going through an event that is going to be written in every Jewish history book. Maybe it would be a day on the calendar for our great-great-great-children. And there's not a lot of that is happening in our short lives. We live 30, 40, 70, 120, but it's short. We're dealing with Jewish history. We're teaching Jewish history. Now we live through a moment that is going to be remembered forever. It's going to echo in history.
So you're saying we're part of, it's like people in the Holocaust didn't know how we will teach Holocaust. Correct. Or what we will visit after the war. So we're basically right now in that, creating that together.
We're not only living the event. We are, if you want to be part of it, responsible on how it rolls. If you are part of it, you are influencing the events. You are in the middle of history. You can watch it from the outside, and not take a part of it. You can come and witness and see and feel that you've been in the most important event, definitely in the Jewish history, at your lifetime. But you can also take a step and influence where things go. And this is a remarkable opportunity that it's a shame. I feel it's a shame to skip. We can talk about, is it worth it? Is it okay to do war tourism? But the fact is that you can influence what's happening by being here.
Who do you think should come to Israel now? Like, who is it fit for? I know that it's basically.
I'm an Israeli tour guide.
We have here. We wrote different questions and topics, and I already jumped. And after the third one, I'm jumping off and saying, "Who is it for? Like, really? Like, who? Like, we are preparing this podcast a little bit to think. Like, my first ideas is like communities, rabbis, temples, churches. Like they need to, because when you come here, what I feel is the feeling are so strong to your identity, no matter who you are, and to your humanity. They are so powerful. They catch you in the guts. You cannot, like I will quote someone that was on one of the trips. She says, like, it was the saddest day of my life, but it also was the most memorable day in my life. Like, and that was on a day that they went to the south to witness what happened in the communities, on the party side, along the roads, met with people that were really affected. And when we dive deeper, she said another sentence that I want to quote is like it gave me a perspective that what can I complain about? I can sit with you here and ask you what we can complain about as Israelis, especially Israelis that are in the travel business. But like, who is it for? Who can come and who can benefit from it by really being part of the history and maybe even help writing it or writing the outcome of it, because we still don't see the end. We just part of it. It's a big say what you said.
The short answer, one word, everyone. And regardless of this war and what's happening, and again, I'm starting broad and I'll narrow down to now. But anyone who's listening to us right now means they have a cell phone and they have, a car where they listen to the podcast, and they have a computer and they have a home, and they're interested in what's happening in the world, and they travel. And I cannot understand how someone who is in the first world and is traveling the world and is interested in what's happening in the world would not come to visit Israel once in their life. I'm not talking about multiple. I'm sold and it's easy. That's my passion. That's my life. That's my profession. But I cannot understand how someone would not come, and most people do not. We're reaching, we reached in 2019 almost 5 million tourists. Let's say we're talking about 3 million tourists coming to Israel a year. About 30 million buy tickets to go up the Eiffel Tower. We can offer the beginning of history, the origin of religion, the best archaeology in the world, the best connection to how we became a society, monotheism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. You're interested in politics. Our nature is spectacular, from desert to snowy peaks in one day. Our people, our history, our food, our beach. So that's a general comment. Now to your question.
Yeah, like to what?
Now, same answer. It's the same answer. I cannot imagine someone who would not benefit being here right now for a few reasons. And I'll open it a little bit. One of the reasons that you get so much media about Israel is that it's probably the safest place in the world to go cover war. If you want to be in a conflict area safely and broadcast live from the Gaza border up north by Syria, whatever, you are in the Western world protected. The risk you're taking, the statistical risk you're taking is very small. But the opportunity to witness events that are so remote from everything you've ever experienced that you can imagine is this is the only place in the world that you could do this so safely. And this is the moment. It is now. It is now the moment. As we speak, tens of thousands of Jews live around the Gaza Strip. They came back to their homes. Why? Because that was their life in the last 20 years. A missile here, a missile there. It sounds a crazy thing, I know, from the outside for listening, but that's what we chose to do, to accept Hamas shooting rockets at us, at our cities, on a regular basis, once a month, 2 months, 3 a week, until there's a big conflict. That's a lifestyle. We are back into that lifestyle. There's no threat right now of invasion of Hamas. They are in their bunkers right now. So it is not more dangerous. You know what? It is not more dangerous than to stay at home. Okay? Here's my selling pitch. Israelis live 4 years longer than Americans. That's a fact. Okay? If we take all the risks we're taking in our life and combine them into one number, statistically, it would come up to how long your life would go on. If your life are longer, that means it was safer. Israelis live 4 years longer than Americans. Every moment that you're here and not there, you're increasing your chance to live longer. Now, that's statistics. We are now talking about psychology. Even though where everything's happening right now, we are not in an immediate risk. If we're going to go, God forbid, or you know what, I don't know if God forbid, we can talk about it, to all war in the region with Iran, or maybe that's a different story, maybe. But right now, the way things are right now, the way they look right now, it is not more dangerous here than it is to stay at home.
So I think it's like you said, like if you are willing to come, everyone can come here. Like we have during this Passover, I have a family that enjoying here. They're staying in Caesarea, in a hotel. They're doing paragliding. They're doing scuba diving with archaeology. The adults going for 1 day to the south to visit the places. They volunteer. They teach their kids. They came with kids from 6 years old to 16 years old. Like a big, broadened family. So I completely agree, because there are some areas that you actually can travel. Like yesterday alone, we had almost 150,000 people, Israelis, that visited the national parks.
Yeah, they actually closed. Some of the national parks in Israel were closed because they were overwhelmed. Yeah.
So I want to ask you another question. How would you build a trip or to Israel? Right now, if we're taking a family or a community that want to build a trip, how do you structure this trip? What are the components that need to be there?
Okay. First of all, as you know, doing boutique tourism, everyone is different. So starting with talking to people, Jews, Christians, what's their faith is. Have they been here? Have they not been here? What's their interest, ages, physical abilities? But if we're going to the general ideas of what is here to do and to see, if we divide it to two, one would be the regular tourism, which could be, depends on your preferences and who you are. A first-timer site, it could be Jerusalem, it could be Masada and the Dead Sea and Akko and Haifa and the regular Tel Aviv. These are places where millions of Israelis living their lives safely every day, and we can go visit as tourists and go see all the historical sites, all in the center of Israel. We can go down to Eilat, although it was in the news a couple of times where the Huthites from Yemen are trying to launch something.
Where the Huthites, that's awesome.
But it does not make Eilat not a safe. It's not. Eilat is not more dangerous than some neighborhoods in New York right now. That's for sure. So there's the regular tourism for nature and food and history and sight and religions and all of these, and then there's the tourism that if we call it tourism, it's a mission. It's a place to come and identify, to help, to connect. These are sites that are relevant for now, and I think will be with us for our whatever we call that tourism in Israel for the future. And it must contain at least 1 day visit to the Gaza envelope area to see how people live there, to witness, to be in the places where events have happened, to maybe help and volunteer there. There's so many places that need help and volunteering, but see the places, find a connection, be part of it, see how you feel about it, meet people.
I think that's probably the keynote is see the places, so witness, that's what you call witness, then volunteer, give back, by giving back, it's connecting you to yourself. It's a great feeling. It's being a part. Mm-hmm. And the last one, probably the most important, I think, factor in this world is it's meet people, real people, with no filters, survivors, families that lost their loved ones, communities that trying to rebuild, I don't know, people that been serving in the army for the last 120, 140 days, and then maybe they will still
200.
continue to serve more when it comes within their routine. I think this is the right place to be. Those are the components that we are putting in.
I want to add a comment about the volunteering element. I know that a lot of people around the world who care, those who would listen to us right now, are doing whatever they chose to do to try and help in their communities, to Israelis. There's a very different feeling when you do something for people and meet the people and create a personal connection with someone who needs help and you help them. That's a different component in your heart than the one who take the credit card and send the money. That's great. That's amazing. It's important. We can't do without it. But helping and talking about it and try to learn about it and convince your friends and sending money does not fill your heart in the same way as coming and seeing the people and meeting them and see how they appreciate the fact that you care. You flew across the ocean, that you conquered your fear, that you are a real friend. I'm going to the Jewish Guild now. You're a real friend in time of trouble, showing up here. Although everyone that comes here is facing a lot of people say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because we know that if you came here, you went through a lot of obstacles and a lot of people said you're crazy.
Yeah. Like we have a lot of people that are connected and that they share that my kids called me, or my mom called me, or my uncle called me, or my friend told me, are you crazy? You're going to Israel now. So I think I want to and tell me if I'm right or wrong. I think what's interesting is, like we said, about how do you build a trip that is coming here. So we want to, if it's just a mission, it's or a volunteering or solidarity. You come, you meet the people, you visit the places, you hear stories, you get inspired. People are saying, my God, I'm getting inspired. I'm meeting people that are inspiring me. I think the most important right now, I think any temple, any synagogue, anyone that consider themselves friends of Israel should organize a mission to Israel. And the reason is because right now, I think from my conversations with people that are sitting on the other side of the ocean, in Canada, United States, Spain, Paris, they are right now facing a big challenge. There is a big, almost like a crater that opens up between different generations. So I think by doing that, I would recommend for any temple to do trips that are for adults, for people that were not here. I would recommend to do trips that are with a gap of a generation. Okay, means like grandparents together with grandkids, maybe grandmothers with granddaughters, because I feel that there is a big gap, a big difference between the ages that are, survived, remember the Holocaust, have a relative. So that the survival of the Jewish people is in their blood, is in their memory, it's in their DNA. Then we have the parents' generation that are now, they grew up in the States, they been growing up their family, they built their life around, it was completely safe. They were, in many ways, American Jews call themselves American Jews and not Jewish Americans. And they are not first Jewish and then America, because that's the concept of America, is being that place that everybody can be whatever they want to be, but they are part of what's the main idea, or a liberation, or the liberal and the safe and free place to practice and to be yourself. That's what America stands for. And now we have these two generations with these crazy protests and sayings that I didn't believe in my lifetime I will hear people screaming death to the Jews on campuses, on the streets in New York. They will scream that to America. That's also like releasing that. So I think this gap of generation, and then you have young Jewish kids that are joining the university or even in high school, and they are facing a challenge that their surrounding, their education, their world was that they maybe did a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, maybe even came to Israel. Like, who do I speak to? They come to Israel, they love Israel, but suddenly they hear and see Israel through a different lens. And now I want to connect them, so I really think
Absolutely.
It's almost like a must to have that gap of generation, so you can have an educated and I would say guided conversation between the generation, because the gap is not too big. At the end, we all believe in life and we all want everybody to be, free and say what they want and expose themselves and be themselves. So we all love those, I think beliefs. We love them about ourselves. And the Jewish people all over the world, they adapt. They came in. This is what the Jewish people doing for the last 2,500 years around the world. They are adapting. They are surviving. They are not trying to push the boundaries. They are the best in what they do just because they have to survive and they have to be. And now it's a new era. It's all floating up. Some people call it anti-Semitism. More practical people maybe even will say it's just, just the easiest to blame. When you have only 15 million Jews, it's easier to blame. So I completely agree that organizations need to move it forward, but families and especially with older kids, they should come here right now.
Absolutely.
Because they need to see with their own eyes. We taking people to see Bedouins, Muslims that were heroes during October 7. We meet with Palestinian correspondences and press people. We meet with Israeli Arabs or Israeli Palestinians or whatever is the terminology. We hear the minorities here, and we really want people to understand that we're here to stay. And yes, it is a Jewish state, but it's a state that whoever wants to be a part of can really have a good life here. So I really completely agree. And I would say it's a good idea to mix, not just come here for a mission 3 days, 4 days, but added a little bit of time for processing. And I want to ask you, you've been raising that.
Keep that question for a second. I just want to
Okay.
just listening to you now, I think that you're so right, because our trips, the 3-generation trips or the 2-generation trips that we do, is always one of the most meaningful things that people give themselves, or we do at our job. I tell grandparents that take their kids and grandchildren on a trip that this is my life dream, to be able one day to take all my children and their grandchildren and wives and be on a trip like this. I could hardly pull them together for a Passover night. So to come together for 10 days is the most meaningful time as a family that you have. But now, where they're facing maybe the biggest gap, and you're absolutely right, the biggest gap between generations now, to the point they're almost losing their youth. The parents that I talk to and the grandparents, sometimes they get to a point that they cannot have a political discussion at home. We just went to a Seder night. I don't know what you did at home, but I'm sure half of the families had to tell everyone before in private conversations, we're not talking politics at Passover because you're going to lose uncle this and child this. And we got to the point that we're so split and we pull for the extremes that the base for discussion is almost taken from us. And maybe one of the emergency missions that you can have, and now I'm thinking of a mission as a different, it's your mission. It's not the mission of it. It's your mission to save your family and your next generation. Because as you said, with an educated person as a guide who can give you background and feedback, and you know that we're serving as therapists, although we're not trained for this, as an outsider that is kind of balancing and able to diffuse tension and add facts. I don't know how many things you could do that would give you that effect, that mission for your family.
So, I think I love it. I think everybody should plan a free generation trip as soon as possible to Israel.
The most amazing thing you could do for yourself.
After the war, before the war. And you know what? Like, I want to, because you mentioned that, I came back from the States. I was in America during October 7. I was speaking to people, doing lectures, spoke to almost 3,000 people in 3.5 months. And then I came back in January, and I had my first, we had a mission of rabbis that came here, and I never guided that type of a mission before. As an educator, I said, I'm running this company. I need to really understand what's going on. And I jumped on that mission where my opening speech was that we are going to go through that together. Because I maybe have some kind of a knowledge, a different perspective as an Israeli. I have my roots here. I live here. I have no other choice. I came from Russia, so I chose to come here. This was the promised land for me. So I'm going to go through that experience together with you. But we have to talk. We have to process those things. We need to have those conversations. And you know what? That's exactly, I feel like it's connected to what we said in the beginning. You said we're still living it. So we are part of writing that type of an history and that type of an education. And maybe the way we're going to interpret things now and in half a year will be completely different.
Yeah.
But one thing that is jumping out is that story. So this first mission, the planes arrived a little bit early. The airport was empty, and so they came out earlier. And everyone ate, because the airplanes that fly from America, they give you food just before you land. So we suddenly had an hour. And as a tour guide, many times you need to adjust. And I'm like, okay, we have an hour. I'm going to go and I'm going to start in Mount Herzl, the military cemetery. And we're arriving there, and there is a funeral, so we're walking to the new area. But I know that the new area of this military cemetery is in a completely different place. So we joined the funeral for about 15 minutes, and then I said, I have to go. I said to the group, I said, I have to go to this new, the new section of the cemetery. I have to go there because it's not here. It's not here. And in my mind, as a tour guide, we're seeing that. Fortunately, we live in a country that war and casualties and people being killed in service, and you always have new tombs and new graves for those brothers and sisters that are serving in the army and protecting us like we did when we were 18. And I really felt it. I couldn't explain, because sometimes you do things when you feel them. And I went up the stairs. You're going up and you're arriving to where Michael Levin, this was the new area, but it was already full, almost completely full. And there's this empty space. And I'm coming up, and it's January, and just been raining, so all the stones on the tombs are brand new, and they had like a little cover. But this area is already, you can see that because of the stones that are on the tombs, it means that the last tomb, the last person that was buried there, the last soldier, it was already a month ago, because you're putting the headstone, after 1 month. And I'm coming up, and it's almost like unrealistic scene. And I see a woman in the middle of all of this, one woman dressed black. She's sitting near her son's tomb. I'm coming closer to her, and something, again, pulled me. I just was pulled, like you're going up a lot of stairs. So the ones that are in a good shape, they arrive first, but some people are still walking up, and I couldn't even wait. Like usually as a tour guide, I'm waiting for the group. And I just was drawn to her, and I just asked her name and gave her a hug. And I told her that I'm here with a group and I want to hear about her son. And, from everything she told us about her son, she said one thing that it's connected to you. She said, what is my biggest gift from my son? And they said, what? She said that about a year ago, now it's a year, it's Passover, we got inherited an amount of money from one of the grandparents that passed away. And instead of taking this money and invested into like an apartment or something, we decided that we're going to take all our kids and grandkids and go for 1 month to the United States. And it's left a memory for the family as a family. It was the last trip that they did. It was on Passover. They did Leila Seder in Disney World. So, and I'm talking about it, I have goosebumps. You can see I literally have goosebumps because this idea of regeneration, this is right there when you give these qualities and those values to your grandkids. And it's not always happening in conversation, but experiencing things together. And I think for the young generation right now, those that are in their 20s or their 18s, they just can't hear anything else because the noise is so big. They really need to come and see it with their own eyes.
Absolutely.
Because when you're here, you are removed from everything around and you actually experience and see many sides, put as many sides as possible, because instead of putting the issue or the challenges, putting them and hiding them, don't touch them, we actually want to throw them in the face, but then summarize it, really have a reflection on it, on the feelings, on the thoughts, on the changes in our thoughts.
Yeah, we have so many people walking around with such passionate opinions that is not based on experience and knowledge. And you know what? Take your opinions. Everybody has an opinion right now. And I'm talking about the grandparents sitting at Passover with the grandchildren. And if they got into a political discussion, everybody has an opinion, but it lacks so much understanding and experience. And great, have your experience, have your opinions and thoughts and understanding of the world, but to be here and to see it is something that gives you tool, whatever your perception is. Be here and see it. You can base your thoughts and your understanding on things you've experienced and saw and people you met, and wherever you take it, it's yours. But build a foundation, a stable foundation to move forward, because these grandchildrens are going to be grandparents one day.
Yeah. And they are the next leaders. You're completely right. I want to throw you another question because I think people from outside will not understand it. And if they come, they have some different expectations. If they saw somebody they saw their pictures walking around with a helmet and a bulletproof vest around one of the communities. I think today nobody walks with ceramic vests and helmets, but how does the local communities and the people that were affected by 7th of October feel about visitors from outside?
Okay. So people are people. And I cannot represent all people. I talk to a lot of people. People who are suffering from PTSD because of 7th of October or coming back from Gaza war. Kibbutzes that were evacuated, a lot of them are living nearby, so I go talk to them. Kibbutz Kfar Aza is in Shfaim, right next to me. I went there and meet them. And the spectrum is wide. Some people feel that it's a therapeutic event for them to talk about things and to share and to be part of something bigger and understand that they're part of something bigger. For some people, they close and they don't want to do that. These are the people that we don't meet, and that's their choice. That's why people went through horrible things, and everybody has to maybe take that. Maybe they want to talk, but maybe not now. Some people came out of the events, want to talk about this, and some people maybe would need to go for 2, 3 years and 4 years of therapy before they'll be willing to admit for themselves what they want and be able to share their experience in a way that they're comfortable. And I'm sure we'll meet those people in the years to come. And we have a discussion. We have a dilemma. This is war tourism. Okay, is it okay to make a business out of it? I'm talking in every level. You and I were making a living out of this. This is one level. The other is the people of the kibbutzes taking visitors and telling them their stories, but they're also going to be supported, either physically because people come to help in their farms because they left their cherry tomatoes behind, or animals, or whatever is needed to be done, and people help with money to causes that they connect to, that they feel connection. So there's a financial element to it that is kind of not pure. It's not like, is it okay? Is it not okay? But it's part of life. It's part of the incentive. Does people of Kfar Gaza need to be supported financially, and therefore they're willing to sit with us and talk? That's part of it. But I feel that we are a family now, way more than I felt before. I feel so much more connected to my friends around the world. Not only geographically, I feel more connected. Historically, I feel more connected. I feel that I'm part of the story of my grandmother from the Holocaust. I feel like I see the Holocaust in colors. And I feel that we're suffering from this. We are living something together as a family. My friends overseas that I've never met are my family. And what they go through right now is anti-Semitism out there is disturbing for me, because that's my family. And wanting or not, we are pushed to be closer now. There's on everything that we do in life, there's a pull and there's a push. We are now on a massive push. Zionism, the state of Israel would not have happened without some crazy pogroms and anti-Semitism. Thank God. There is a positive to this, and we should hold and grab the positive. And the positive is that we got a saving rope for our identity. We got to stick together because we have no option. They need us. We need them. Am I answering the question?
I think yes, you are in many ways. Like you get that feeling like you started, and it's really connecting very easily to what you said before. When you come here during this time, as a visitor from any country, you hear always people telling you thank you, because it's not obvious.
Yeah.
But I think us, when we're sitting here as Israelis, watching the disturbing news from Columbia University or Michigan, from Dearborn, or from any other place in the world that you have London marching every single Friday and Saturday, there is a march, hundreds of thousands of people. It's really bring me back, like, to that level, to that idea that I feel that are so connected to the people on the other side of the oceans. They are my family. And like, exactly like you said, I feel that maybe the question that I asked was about, is that okay or not okay? I think it's also, the answer is, some people feel that is, it's like breaking their private area, and they want, so today I'm trying not to take people to the communities inside the gates, because really you already have people that went back and they're living maybe in their house, but they lost friends and family in this neighborhood. But on the other hand, when I have a delegation that can really donate some money and can help the coast to rebuild it, because at the end, if we're coming from a pure heart of really seeing, witnessing, I think it's different from, just out of curiosity to go and take a selfie with a burned house.
So I think the difference is in the sensitivity and to be in tuned. The difference between come to a zoo and look at the animals from the outside, which is maybe, I'm kind of making it very blunt, the question, is it okay to come and watch people suffering and doesn't feel right? The difference between that and doing something great for everyone lies in the sensitivity and the ability to look at people's eyes and be able to be flexible, because that we're planning something. And right now, before the war, we were planning a trip for a family 3 years ahead, and possibly that's what would happen. Right now, everything changes. And if you meet someone like in the cemetery and you want to talk to them, that becomes the highlight of, but you got to be, be open. So those people who want to talk to you, and it's good for them to talk to you, These are the people that we need to find. And it changes. Maybe this week they want to talk to you, next week they don't. We have to be sensitive as we treat humans. And they're appreciative of the help. There's so much good that is going for everyone, those who are here and those who come here. The benefit is tremendous. And the difference is sensitivity, not pushy, with respect, and a little quiet and listen and be in tuned. We cannot be pushy. We're not coming over to look and to take pictures. It's got to be on a low key and sensitive and humble and from a good heart. And then amazing things happen for everyone.
I just so agree. I think it's also like I just interviewed Noam, a survivor from Nova, and I asked him he come to give a lecture, and I asked him, can I pay you for the lecture, or he came here, can I pay you for gas or something like this? And he says, you paying me with my therapy. So we've Pet to Tomorrow, our nonprofit organization, we deal a lot with survivors from Nova, and they have different stages. But for many of them, when they discover that they can filter and they can talk, it's their therapy. Because then they processing it and they still living it. It's many times affecting their day-to-day life. Like, I have somebody that is a salesperson, perfect salesperson, the best. But he's like, can I call someone now and try to work with them on selling them something? Or no, I'm have like a computer lab. Can I, close or be like, I will do a little bit here or there when I can, but it's not like I'm not emotionally in this place yet. So I think for them, a lot of them looking for a way to start that healing process that is not going to be simple and easy. And we're, again, part of it. So by coming, you're supporting, you're being here, you are taking things in.
And you're making personal connections and friends. And I'll add an experience from my personal perspective. I did a mission, if you want to call it, for 2 people a month ago.
Oh.
Okay? I did for 2 people, two friends who came to Israel. 2 friends from college who came together, just 2 of them. And I was looking for something for them to do. And through a friend, his wife, her daughter, her friend. Welcome to Israel. I got to a guy named Hanoch, who is on Special Forces of Sayeret Nahal, who were the first ones there at the 7th of October. And they actually just left Gaza now. They're the last one to stay there. And this guy was a lone soldier. He is a lone soldier, which means he couldn't go to his family for all kinds of reasons. He was injured at the Battle of 7th of October, and he's in some serious PTSD right now. And we went through a process of 2 weeks talking about, is it right for him? I wanted him to join us for the day, whatever was good for him. We talked back and forth. He went to his therapist. I went to mine to talk about how is it right to do this. And he thought it would be great for him to come to the place where he fought. He's never been there before. And tell the story. And he brought a friend to support him. And we went in my car, my 2 friends from New York, Hanoch and his friend, and we went and we took him at the first time to his battle site. It took him time to realize what was going on here. He showed us pictures that he's taken. He almost lost an arm. He did not lose an arm, but he had his cat on his hand for 4.5 hours because he was not in a life danger situation. He was fighting in his bad hand, sending other people to be evacuated at the time because he was not in a life-threatening situation. He was just losing his hand if he'd staying longer. So he stayed there for 4.5 hours. Eventually, they've saved his arm, 84 stitches. We spent a day with him. And I asked him before, do you want to get paid for this? And he didn't know, it's on the table. Is it okay? Is it not okay? We had this discussion. I told him, say whatever you want. If you want to be paid, you'll be paid. You want to create a relationship, and maybe you'll benefit, that you will benefit from that in the future, but you don't know. That's an option. And he said, I want to benefit from this. And we chose to go with creating a friendship and see where it goes, not asking to be paid. We had this discussion. This is his life story. He's going to take this story for the rest of his life.
And it was his first time?
It was his first time to go there. He did not realize where he was. It took us time. It took him time to realize that he was behind this wall and the other wall, and it took time. And eventually, the two guys that met him and I adopted his unit. Last weekend, they were at my house. The whole unit, they were at my house for a barbecue. And it was the first time they met. A lot of these guys were in hospitals for many reasons. So we had taxis bringing them from hospitals. They all met at the first time after 6 months at my house. And they just, on the way here, Hanoch called me and he says they're going on a 7-day vacation now. They're giving them a 7 vacation leave, and they want to take, they want to spend a night together, the whole team. So we're now, this Motzei Shabbat, we're going to find them a place to spend a day, to party, to talk, to hug. They need each other. The best support that they can get is be with each other.
Yeah, because they know what they've been through.
And they have not had a moment to talk. They're fighting all the time.
This is one moment and again, like I want now pretty much wrap it up with like 10 best advices for a person that planning a trip to Israel.
Okay.
Whenever, if it's a community leader, if it's a family head, like give them a little bit of advices. So that's coming. But look, one thing that has happened, like I'm sure that these two friends from New York needed to be flexible because
Absolutely.
You didn't know what's going to happen.
The itinerary changed all the time.
You know, like on that specific day, you said, I have that opportunity that happened in the Israeli way, the uncle, the dog, whatever is the opportunity. And you can think, you already thinking about the storytelling because it's more about the person. It's not less about the battle or how it's going to affect or where we're going geopolitically.
All about the person.
It's about personal connection.
Yeah.
And now these two friends from New York found it to be so emotional, so personal, created a friend, supported the barbecue, and now, those relationships going forward, and we finding ourselves organizing them all the time. Let's give an advice for whoever deciding to come to Israel. If you're a rabbi, if you're a pastor, if you're just a community leader, if you have, I don't know, a young adult club or anything else, like you're planning a grandfather, you're planning to come to Israel, what are the most important things to remember and to do? So like tips. So number one, don't expect, for me, like this is the first one, don't expect the planning to be like, like if you're planning to come in half a year, commit. You will see your itinerary that will come in together. We can put up the itinerary right now, but the reality is changes all the time. So we actually adjust it, and pretty much your final itinerary going to start to get a form 3 weeks to 1 week before arrival. Because opportunity is coming, like this Hanoch
and things will change on the fly.
So this is my first advice. When you come to plan something like this, please be more flexible. Just commit to come and understand it's not a normal time in Israel.
When you wanna get the best out of your time here, again, I go back to what I've said. Commit the time, come with an open heart, and understand that we're coming most of all to meet people and to create a connection. And you cannot plan this. You cannot plan that I'll create an emotional connection with that person in 3 months where we'll sit together. We can say, okay, we'll eat together lunch and we'll talk.
So you're saying leave, like I'm going to, like the second advice, I'm going to like put it in one sentence. Please don't overpack your itinerary. Keep place or time for things to happen because they just happens all the time.
Eyes on the target. What's the target? To experience, to find a connection, to support, and to be supported. That's the target.
Perfect.
Yeah, so take time. So be spontaneous.
That's number two. I think
leave time for spontaneity, like for things to happen. So absolutely don't pack.
So be ready if you're coming for a short time for a very packed on one hand itinerary, but you will see that there are not many dots that you're visiting, not many activities. Mm-hmm. But I would recommend give it a little bit longer time. Don't come for 3 days, come for 5 days. Okay, and
a week.
The most important, keep time. That's number one advice. After doing many without, and the last ones with that time for reflection. Mm-hmm. Let people create the circle. If it's a family, share your feelings, share your feeling from
Absolutely.
a day, what you studied, what you learned. Like give that a really respectful time. We've prepared questions ahead of time so people can share with directive questions. So that's another advice.
Prepared time for questions,
Yeah.
not prepared questions. Or you mean
Like leave time for,
people, yeah, prepared time,
reflection and
yeah.
prepare questions
'Cause
that will be directive questions.
things will come and will happen. Yeah. Balanced. Okay? Balanced program. You cannot overload yourself with any of the component. This is all potentially overwhelming. So sightseeing of war-related sites could be overwhelming. You don't want to do too much of that. You can't see all these places. You should not aim. You should aim to touch
Love it.
some of them. Balance. People. You want to meet people, as we've said, but balance. We're not going to go from one person. We can fill up your itinerary for a month now with meeting people.
Yeah.
You want to do some of that and a
don't
variety.
do over one or two speakers or like a visit of a site.
Right, and a wide spectrum of different
Yeah,
people.
like really different perspective. I love it.
Fun.
Have
It's
to-
okay. We are on the constant debate. Is that
So-
okay? Can we say Happy Passover? Is that allowed?
So I love that because right now, and this is an important moment, right now we're sitting outside. It's a place called the Comedy Bar. Like near
Stand-up
that
comedy,
studio,
yeah.
it's like, yeah, stand up. We have stand up in Israel. By the way, funny Mondays. If you're here on Monday, go and see and support Israeli comedians.
And war stand-up.
War stand
We
up.
in Israel a long time ago do Holocaust jokes that are not allowed outside
Yeah,
of Israel.
so
But
fun.
in Israel it's happening. And now we already have a generation of war jokes. We are allowed to eat well. We're allowed to take a break. We're allowed to sit at the beach at the end of the day, stick our legs in the sand and have a beer.
And you see it here done by the Israelis.
Life continues here.
I think every time you meet a soldier, you understand that they fighting, so we can do that. So yeah, come, enjoy, support. I would say support the businesses. Go and have a good dinner, enjoy a drink, go for a trip, book a jeep tour. Those people that been hosting you forever here, they need the
Absolutely.
work.
They're waiting.
They need that support and speak foreigner language.
Right.
Right. So, okay. So we have like keep time for fun. What else?
And balance.
And
There's
balance.
a balance and keep time for fun. Your friends that you come with, you're creating a community. You're creating a one in a lifetime event for yourself when you come. Whoever you choose to come with, these people go back with you. You're deepening the relationship with the people that you chose to come with. If it's a family, if it's a community, if it's work colleagues, the relationship that are formed in situations that are so emotionally deep are going beyond friendship of sitting at a bar and having a drink together. The people you choose to bring with you are people that are going to keep those ties with you. You're going to carry that experience with them forever. It's not you're not going on a vacation in Mexico.
You gave me an idea because I think visiting Israel with the emotional and deep roots are so powerful usually for people that visit or communities that doing community trips that are so powerful and bringing such a big energy. I think by sharing that not so happy moments, it's even stronger, those connections.
Absolutely, meaningful,
so
spiritual,
really use them.
emotional.
Think about how to incorporate them back into the community.
Who you going to bring with you? Because that gift that you're giving yourself and people that come with, you choose the people that come with you, because this is not everyone's going to come with you, and you're deepening your relationship with those people forever.
Perfect. Listen, I think we have a pretty good guide for you to what you need to know when you're planning a trip to Israel post of October 7, the different dilemmas, but we really highly recommend to do a variety, a balance, meet the people. I would say even staying in hotels. Right now we have evacuees in some of the hotels. Maybe give up a little bit on the luxury hotel that you want to stay in and stay in a hotel that have evacuees. Just feel the people that are not home. It's a little bit different. There is a lot of different checklists. If you want our checklist, what should be there please leave us a message, and I'm happy to send you our personal checklist to plan those type of trips. But Yuval, I want to give you like last words. I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So
Thank you for
like
inviting
really
me.
it was very, very interesting to see it from your eyes. So happy that you brought your brand and we're now partnering together. It's amazing. I'm excited for that work to come, and that education like spirit that comes in, that it's in your DNA, and I understand why I love you so much. So last word, a message that you want to give people.
A message to the people. I'm going to look at the people. Don't stand aside when history is happening. It's happening now. Be part of it, feel it, connect, bring the people you love to find that connection as well. That size of event and moment is probably not happening again in your lifetime. Don't stand aside. Witness, connect, be inspired, and also influence. You can make a difference. Small, but you can make a difference. Don't give up that moment.
Thank you very much. Toda raba.
תודה רבה.
I will see you in the next episode of Israeli Adventures. Stay tuned, and we are waiting for you in Israel. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Thanks for tuning in to Israeli Adventures. I hope you had a blast exploring the luxury vacation scene here in Israel. Stay adventurous, keep embracing the fun, and let your wanderlust lead you to extraordinary experiences. See you next time for more fantastic escapades, safe travels, and endless joy to all our awesome listeners from Beni Levin.